Gladly, I will tell you how to find your dream career, but I will also tell you that I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I also think that's okay. So if you hear me out, I'm going to tell you about purpose. And purpose for me is like going for brunch, you know. You have an avocado toast with a matcha latte. It's trendy, but no one really knows what it means. For me, it's about waking up in the morning, excited for the day, and surrounded by people who inspire you. That's as simple as it gets. So let me tell you a bit about my story and what I've learned along the journey. I started working when I was 10. I was just creating and selling things, working in restaurants, so, all kinds of menial jobs. And people would ask me, how they ask most kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? I hated that question, I still do to an extent. Kids are delusional. They want to be astronauts, they want to be Superman, they want to save the world. How are you supposed to know what you want to do when you haven't tried different things? So when I was a kid, I wanted to do a lot of things. I wanted to be a geologist, an anthropologist, an actress. So when I wanted to be an actress, I went to a lot of castings to see if there was a thing for me. I remember one in particular. I went through the process, I made it to the final stage, and then I was rejected. They basically told me I wasn't beautiful enough, which, shocking. I know, I think I'm averagely good looking, I'm fine, but if you'd seen my teeth at the time, I think you would have understood. So I was a kid, I was crushed. I went to my mom, I was like, Mom, can I get some braces? And that was the end of dream number one. Which is fine because, I believe that rejection is redirection. And so sometimes you try something and you understand it's not for you. And other times it's life that pushes you in another direction, which is better for you. Okay, so at 12, this was my plan. I was going to go to med school, become a neurosurgeon, and then open my own private clinic. I don't know if you know her. I don't know if you can see her, though. I wanted to be her, Amelia Shepard from Grey's Anatomy. She's super cute, of course you want to be her. And as Fred says, I'm a salesperson, boring. So, not a neurosurgeon, so that was another dream that failed. A lot of things happened in between, some better, some worse, just life. But one good thing happened. At 14, I opened my first business selling pancakes. I just wanted to make money, travel, but that kind of opened up my passion for business. So then, business school became the new plan. I thought that 3 years would give me more than enough time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Spoiler alert, it didn't, It just didn't. Okay, so then, just last week I was with a friend. Sunday afternoon, we tried to pick a movie on Netflix. Spent like an hour, scrolling, watching trailers, all of that. Picked a really bad movie. Love story, someone dies, and then you just cry your soul out. And that's not what you want to do on Sundays, right? So I think I spent more time picking that movie than I did picking my major. Most people do that with their careers, which explains why so many of us have career crises, right? Well, university is done with. What's the plan, What's next? And, well, so then I decided to take a gap year. Here are some pictures, and there was one thing I knew. Only one thing, but that's not more than nothing. When I was a kid, I remember watching my dad, and he's a bit cheesy, but he's kind of my hero. And I remember watching him. He was working from 9 a.m. to 10, 11 p.m. in the evening, so a lot of hours. I'm not telling you to do that, by the way. I don't want to do that myself either. But he did that because he loved his job. He's an entrepreneur. He has his own company. And, so that was kind of the goal. I want to find something that I'm so passionate about that I wouldn't mind putting in the hours. So gap year. Trying to find my purpose. A bit of a cliche, but that's what we're here for. So I sit down, I start writing down a list of top hypotheses of things I could see myself doing, and then start doing them and start crossing them out and reflecting on what I enjoyed and didn't enjoy by each one of them in an attempt to design my dream life. So I worked in VC, in marketing, volunteered in Iceland, worked in banking in Guinea-Bissau, even attempted to build my own startup. Just, do you know when something feels right? Just wasn't clicking, was not that. So at some point I thought, maybe working 9 to 5 is not for me. Maybe I want a slower paced life. Maybe I want to become a monk, I don't know, that's an option. So I did a bit of that as well. So I went to Spain, worked in a self-sustainable farm, lived in a yoga center with a monk. And for the record, when I say slow, I mean that we spend like 8 hours cooking a potato. That's as slow as it gets, that's slow. At some point I was like, maybe I'll just buy a van, build a tiny house, travel the world. Unfortunately, I don't live in a van, and so that was another dream that didn't happen. Fast forward a couple of months, I landed an internship at one of these Fortune 500 companies in consulting. And I was like, okay, last try, let's go. And I don't know if any of you works in consulting. This is not personal, but this is how I would describe my job. I mean, nothing against it. It's not me. And I don't know how you see all of this exploration, but I was kind of getting desperate. And at some point, I started experiencing something new. And I love memes, for the record. I think they're super cute. But, I started experiencing something. I didn't know what it was at the time. I thought I was dying. I do know now that it's what's called a panic attack. You can't breathe, everything becomes blurry, and you think you're going to pass out. So let's say it's not fun, and I don't recommend it. So I was like, okay, what is it? What is it that I want to do? And here's something I figured out. It's not about what you do. It's about who you get to be when you're doing that job. So it's about people. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, right? Okay, so I don't know if you know like that Disney logo thing where they do like this. So, obsession unlocked kind of thing. Let's see what my purpose is. Where is it? And so I spent some time speaking with more than 300 people, read more than 100 books. So small obsession, as you can see. And here's some numbers and some things I figured out. So 63% of people are not engaged with their jobs, and the further 24 are actively disengaged. Not nice numbers, but they don't amount to 100%. So, I have the example that you can find something you love. So that was still the goal, And, well, this was the most common answer whenever I would ask people what they wanted to do with their careers. Do you know what this is? Just meh. But it's also like, it's okay. People would say this, and these are not the answers you want to hear. Like, does everyone hate their job? I know that's not true. And did you know that the average career is 80,000 hours? Just my take, but I'd say that's a lot of hours to spend doing something that doesn't make you happy. I don't know. So it took me 1 more year to understand what I wanted to do, find my purpose, and my dream job, if you might. And in the end, I'd say it comes down to 2 things. So it's the company's purpose, being something you want to contribute for, but it's also the people you work with, being so inspiring that you want to get out of bed and you want to contribute for this common goal. I also understood in my personal case that just having a 9-to-5 is not fulfilling for me. So I also created my own company. I have my side hustles, as you said, but that's for me. And me and you, any of you, we're not the same. And I think what's beautiful about life is there are so many options, there are so many things we can do and so many different combinations that there's not a one-size-fits-all kind of answer. You know what else I've learned in the last 2 years of trial and error? Is that forward is forward. You need to get lost because that's the only way to find yourself. And the reason you need to find yourself is because it's more about direction than it is about speeds. So try different things and see what works for you. This is the last meme, I swear. But this idea that work might be fulfilling rather than just painfully necessary is a very recent invention. Nowadays, we don't only expect to obtain money through labor, we also, to a greater or lesser extent, expect to find meaning and satisfaction. Career crisis, one-on-one. And cool, so I know what you're thinking, like, okay, that's great, but how do I then get closer to doing a job that I love doing? And let me give you my 4 best tips. So number 1 is to get to know yourself. A bit of a cliche, so that's the end. No, I'm kidding. So, the way society rewards us doesn't allow us to take a step back and actually figure out what we love doing and pursue our passions. You know, you need to take ownership of your life, put yourself into uncomfortable situations, and understand how you react to them. Either you do it or no one else is going to do it for you, you know, because you're expected to study, work, maybe study more, maybe work some more. So it's in your hands. Number 2 is to make a list of 10 top hypotheses of things you could see yourself doing. And I put a plus there because in my case there were more than 20, for the record, but maybe for you it's 5. So think about which kind of things you'd like to do or you could see yourself doing, and find ways to figure out if you can incorporate them into your life. You can take full-time jobs, part-time jobs, volunteer projects. You can speak with people who are doing them. There's a lot of ways to do it. Number 3 is to look up people you admire. This might be one of the most important things, you know. What do they have that you'd like to have? You know, what are their strengths? Get closer to them, invite them for coffee, you know, learn from them. You know, make sure you surround yourself with people who bring the best out of you. Online, but also offline, you know, and follow all those Kelly Jenners of the world. That's not real life, you know, no one has that nose, no one has that life, that's not real. And the last one is to understand what is the level of dust you are willing to take. You know, what are the things that drain your energy and how much of it can you take? I'm not here telling you, okay, you're gonna find your dream job and you're gonna love it and wake up every day super excited. That's unrealistic. But if you can aim to like at least 80% of what you do, you know, the Pareto principle, that's a good number to look out to. This last idea, you know, it's terrifying to be lost. It's like it physically hurts, you know, been there, done that several times. It's terrifying because we are too attached to the idea of who we are supposed to be. We end up staying at the safe job, working long hours, being micromanaged because, you know, we want stability despite the fact that that doesn't bring us fulfillment. So wherever you do, make sure you do it because you have taken the time to reflect and not just because everyone else is doing it, you know. Understand what's the thing for you and then take small steps towards getting there. Life is about the journey, you know, and life is short. I know that, you know that, we all know that. Life is short, but it's also the longest thing we'll ever experience. So I'd say the scariest thing would be for you to wake up when you're 80 and realize that all you did was waste time. Let's not do that. And just the last idea, because I'm here and I was asked to leave you with one idea. And instead, I choose to leave you with an ask, if you let me. So, you know, try different things, see what works and what doesn't. Take a pen and design a life you love waking up to. Thank you.